All right, so I'm going to turn you on speaker. All right, so this is what we started with. That the number one emotion is frustration, but in a good frustrating way, all the things that we've been trying to do over the years for our golf swing is going to quickly come together. The days of quick fixes and vague instruction is over. We've gone season upon season and maybe only gotten a hair better at best. All right, shoot.
Okay, so when I say we've only gotten a hair better at best, what I'm really referring to is how we play the game. We got a little bit more knowledgeable around the greens, right? We were able to get up and down, which is really the biggest impact you're going to have on your score. But my swing never really got better. Sure, I hit the ball a little bit better, a little bit crisper, right? But I still struggle, like everybody else, right, with the old problems that keep seeping back in. At some point in the season, I'm going to go through a transition. Unlike the pros that might only have a couple of bad weeks, right, or a bad week, I may go months trying to fix something on the range. And have I really fixed it? Probably not. I just found a different way to swing, and I captured that new swing for a few months, right? But my game only improved really from, if you look at video, and this is the hardest thing for golfers, when somebody videotapes your swing, I've never heard an amateur golfer go, wow, especially that guy that's a bogey, an 18 handicap or above, for sure. I would even say anybody that's over a single digit. They don't look at, I've never heard anybody say, God, that's such a beautiful swing. They're like, when they see it, they're horrified. They're like, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
Because we've neglected the fundamentals of the golf swing. We've relied too much on the end result and looking to YouTube or somebody on the golf course that says, hey, you know, I notice you're dropping your hands a little bit, or, you know, or you're not, boy, if you just widen your stance a little bit. No, I haven't fixed any of the problems.
Well,
right?
It goes back to, Britt, the very fundamentals of what I brought to Chuck Quinton back in 2009. There aren't any fundamentals because you just said, well, we're not working on the fundamentals. The problem lies, by definition of the word, the golf industry, the instruction industry, has yet to provide any fundamentals because a fundamental is an absolute.
Right.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. When here's the difference in working with you and understanding fundamentals. I get it now. Right? Yeah. It's body movement. It's not what all the things that we've been taught. Those are results.
Right.
And so that's the eye opener. No matter what I do, I cannot fix anything until I get my body to do what it's supposed to do.
Is that why Ben Hogan's book really resonated? Because Ben Hogan was just a big fan of that, right?
Yeah, that was it. That's all he said. He goes, look, he says it in his book. I forget exactly how he put it, but in essence, it's like everything that they thought were fundamentals actually were not fundamentals at all. And what he found is completely the opposite were the true fundamentals. It was the sound swing. Without the true fundamental, you'll never have anything else. And so that was... He just said, look, it's body motion. He said it like 17 times in the first 60 pages. Body motion, body motion, body motion.
Yeah.
And it's like, but what do? Swing.
Swing
on plane.
Yeah, in our lesson...
Get your hands here.
Yeah, in our lesson yesterday, remember, once you learn body motion, there is no longer a swing. There's actually no such thing. What you actually do is you actually stop swinging the club. The only time you have a sensation of a swing is about 12 to 18 inches before impact, and the rest of it is 100% body motion, no thought to the club, no thought to the club head or where it's at.
Right, because what happens when you are in the proper position, that over-the-top move goes away and you find yourself dropping the club in the slot.
Yeah.
The problem with your hands up top are no longer a problem.
Yeah.
Because you keep putting them in the right place, right?
Or better yet, you're actually allowed to put them in a variety of places. It's owning your swing. We want the coil and coil motion. We want those proper fundamental motions Hogan talked about. It's not about where your arms and hands are, because look at Nicklaus, look at Palmer, look at Tiger, look at it. That's a total secondary issue. And with my golfers, I really don't like to mess with that much. If we can get them in the correct downswing move like you, do I really want to obsess with all those other non-primary? Those are secondary issues? Probably not. Because, a golfer only has so many years to golf. He only has so many things that he can change. Where is he going to get the biggest bang for his buck? Where should he spend 80% of his practice time going forward until he's 95, like Hogan, doing the same thing over and over again? It's the torso motion.
So to me, you're absolutely right. Take a guy like Matthew Wolff, right? Matthew Wolff, he's got kind of I think his trigger is really cool. And what he does is he kind of pumps forward a little bit, releases his right leg, it puts his hands, he's really just checking his hands, right? Are his hands, for him, are his hands in the right place at target in flexion? And then he comes out of that, lifts the club up. Now, here's a perfect example, which actually supports what you're saying. Kind of like Jim Furyk. He's got massive extension at the top of his swing. However, just like all the other great players on the tour, he drops that and goes right into the proper body motion. Right, that's the one key thing. If I was talking to a player, right, that's kind of struggling and trying to figure this out and just can't get any better than his 12 handicap or 18 handicap, and what are you doing, right? Oh, well, I'm working on this or I'm working on that. And like I said earlier, you can get better. You can drop that handicap by working more in the areas that will drop your handicap, like putting and chipping. Right? That will improve you, but you never really improved internally. And so I would just say, look, it's all about body motion. Look, there's not one single pro out there that looks like you do. They all look very similar. They may take the club away differently. Their hands might be in different positions, a la DJ, right? DJ's got massive flexion, laying off the club big time. John Rahm's the same way. Then you got players like Matthew Wolff and Jim Furyk that have that massive extension instead of flexion, right? But their body moves the same way. That chain, I'll call it, I like it this from American Heart Association. It's the chain of survival. You break the chain of survival, you die. Your swing dies, no matter what you do.
And that is now, hopefully you have the clear understanding that is learning how to control. When you say body, that's in the absence of arms. It's what the torso does, the shoulder turn, the hip turn, and how that is synced and timed up with weight shift. Would you agree?
I would totally agree. And Ben Hogan absolutely agrees because he says it in his book.
Yeah. And that's
the body, right, comes to your arms, then to your hands, and ultimately to the club itself, right? Transitions, the result is good impact. But without the body, he said, what did he do with his arms? He completely wrapped them around his torso, right? Because he was looking for consistency, a swing that he could count on.
Yeah, he didn't, to clarify, he did not move his arms. The only thing his arms did in the backswing, Ben Hogan, is flex his right elbow. Every place and position you see his arms in is a result of his torso, his body, the body and the torso moving. He makes the coil uncoil movement, and that's what makes all great athletes in all sports the same. Okay, go ahead.
Right. So, yeah, that's exactly right, and that's what he says. He goes, "Look, it's all about my motion, right? Get rid of all these anomalies back here and focus. And I think what's interesting, and people need to understand, is that he describes what he felt and tried to bring that to the recreational golfer or up-and-coming golfer. But what he felt, right, what I've learned is what you feel isn't exactly what's going on internally in your body.
Amen.
And so that's why TED is so important. That's why working with somebody that's certified in this is absolutely the key to improving your overall golf swing for consistency. You
Yes.
want more power? I'll show you where it is.
And as
right?
as I was editing your video and Brad's, right, the TED training sessions, and I cringed with the emotions you must have been feeling when I'm barking orders at you like that, those tiny little move here, freeze, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I started thinking, I don't think we can categorize TED training as golf instruction or even a golf teacher. It's a coach. Because what does a coach do? If you're not doing the right thing and you're in the football and you're running down the field, he yells at you, go the other way or do this or do you see what I'm saying? I really see it as more of maybe we'll have to come up with the right word, but it's really more coaching. Because
right. I would say, think about an athletic person, right? What makes it? You got two people sitting in front of you. You got the naturally born gifted athlete, and then you have the guy that has zero coordination.
Yes.
Right? He the same thing with the PGA players or a hockey player. Some guys are gifted with the body movements, right? They came naturally. They found those moves, right? Those, for others, they've got to have somebody teach them how to make their body move. And I think that neuroplasticity and brain mapping aspect is a huge light bulb for players to understand. And I was talking to a guy, I was just talking about brain mapping, and a guy that I was doing an instruction with, and I said, here's your problem. He's fighting, right? He's like, I can't, something's not linking up. And I said, do you understand brain mapping? And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, okay, take your index finger and your middle finger and talk to me. Can you move them up and down? Can you move them simultaneously in opposite directions without even thinking about it? He said, yeah. And he starts doing it, right? I said, now try to do that with your index finger and your pinky. And everything went haywire. And I said, that's the issue you're having with your golf swing right now. We're trying to help you sync something up in movement, right? But because these things are so far away, because those neurons have never fired together, right? We're trying to get that's neuroplasticity, get them to fire together. The cool part is they will come together and start working.
Yeah, with TED training, the craft works. It actually gets hardwired at a fast pace. And as you pick up the pace, only if the motion is correct. That's why we can't allow you to pick up the pace until you have it, right? So as you begin to pick up the pace, it requires less neurons and less effort to produce it. That's why TED, tedious, exhausting, and demanding, is frustration in the beginning, because you want traditional golf instruction is, oh, I intellectually understand it, so let me go hit balls. Oh, okay, I hit one and I did it right, I got it now. And it's like, you're not even scratching the surface. You're not even off first bet. You haven't even had a pitch thrown at you yet. God, I'm always wanting with TED training, I'm always like I did with you yesterday, Britt, it's stop, get back here, come back, you're like way ahead now. And so, I mean, would you agree? Is that kind of what it felt like to you? Did it feel like I was holding you back?
Oh, absolutely. Because once I felt that move, I immediately wanted to put it into action. I wanted to see the result. I couldn't stand it.
Yeah,
I was like, I got to see the ball flight. I got to feel myself hit that freaking stupid white ball.
Right. And do you understand now, based on neuroplasticity, why it's absolutely critical you do not rely on that ball flight? Had I let you jump right in there, the session would have been mute. I mean, you would have learned nothing. You would have got up today, had the same type of frustration, or a week from now, it would be totally disappeared. Because your brain actually hasn't learned anything yet. It's not ready to move at the speed of a swing. All I did was introduce a new sensation and a feeling that's accurate. And because you intellectually understand it, you thought you could do it. That's my greatest hump in the golf industry, is all they know is how to talk about the golf swing. I watched a 45-minute video talking about, not the force plates, but what are they calling it now? It's the new big buzzword.
Which one? When you talk about force plates,
well, force plates or 45 minutes talking about the pressure that your feet feel in the ground. What did they call it? Force pressure, something. I'll try to find it. But anyway, the problem with that is after 45 minutes, and this is in like one of your top 100 teachers, there's absolutely nothing you or a golfer could take away from that conversation that will ever be able to be applied to their swing. So it's one thing to, if as long as you know the difference between talking about the swing, because I actually enjoy that too, and actually learning how to do it. Once you know the difference, then it's okay. But the industry culturally thinks that intellectually understanding something is all they need to do to run to the driving range, and somehow their brain and body is going to figure that thing out and start doing it, and it couldn't be further than the truth. It never worked. It's never worked.
Hi, Allison here. Thanks for watching that clip. And if you enjoyed it and you're interested in scheduling your own one-on-one Zoom lesson, just click the link below. Thanks.